We chase pleasure every day in our phones, our relationships, our victories. But what if Carl Jung was right? What if this endless pursuit of pleasure isn't freedom, but a cage we've built ourselves? Because after this story, you'll never look at pleasure the same way again. We live in a world built for quick hits, a constant loop of likes, little chimes, endless scrolling, and the promise that the next purchase, the next victory, or the next perfect post will finally feel like enough. It's easy to forget that pleasure used to arrive as a slow, meaningful thing. A conversation that lingered, a sunset you actually watched. Now pleasure is packaged into notifications, measured in numbers, and served up so fast we barely taste it before chasing the next dopamine rush. Carl Jung warned that this isn't harmless. When our conscious life becomes all surface, performance, approval, accumulation, the unconscious quietly starts to rebel. It stores the parts of us we ignore, the doubts, the grief, the awkward, unglamorous corners that get pushed away so we can keep performing. The irony is brutal. The harder we chase external pleasure to feel whole, the more hollow we often become inside. Pleasure becomes a bandage, not a cure. So I want to ask you directly, because this matters more than a passing thought. Have you ever noticed that the more you try to feel good, the less satisfied you actually are? That moment after the like or the purchase, when the happiness fades and something else, quieter, heavier, is still there? That's the unconscious nudging saying you can't outrun yourself. If we keep mistaking quick fixes for real nourishment, we keep living on the surface while the deeper self waits for its turn. Carl Jung believed that every one of us carries a shadow, a hidden side made of everything we don't want to see in ourselves. It's the anger we suppress to seem kind, the envy we disguise as ambition, the sadness we bury under laughter. We think we can hide it, but the shadow doesn't vanish just because we look away. It waits. It gathers strength in the dark corners of our mind, growing heavier the more we pretend it isn't there. Imagine a man standing in the sunlight, smiling, confident, certain he's in control. But behind him, the shadow stretches long and dark. Everything he's tried to escape still following him. That's how it is for most of us. We chase pleasure to stay in the light, to keep the illusion alive. We fill our days with noise, success, affection, anything that keeps us from hearing the quiet truth inside. But pleasure becomes dangerous when it's not joy, but a hiding place. When it's used to cover pain, shame, or conflict that needs to be faced. Jung once said, "What we resist persists." And he was right. The more we resist our inner darkness, the more it controls us from below the surface. The more we deny our shadow, the more it shapes our choices, our relationships, even our happiness. True freedom, Jung believed, doesn't come from chasing light. It comes from turning around and meeting the darkness that's been following us all along. There's a strange truth about life that most of us spend years trying to avoid. That real pleasure, the kind that lasts, can't exist without pain. Jung believed our suffering isn't something to escape, it's a message. Every ache, every heartbreak, every disappointment is a signal pointing us towards something we've refused to see. But instead of listening, we run. We fill the silence with noise, the emptiness with distractions. Think about someone who keeps jumping from one relationship to another, convinced that love will heal the loneliness inside. Each new face brings a spark of excitement, a rush that feels like meaning, but it fades. The loneliness always returns, heavier than before. Or someone who keeps climbing the ladder of success, chasing promotion after promotion, thinking the next milestone will finally bring peace. But when they get there, the same hollow feeling greets them again. That's not failure. That's the unconscious calling out, saying, "You're not listening." Jung said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." What he meant is that pain wakes us up. It cracks the shell of who we think we are and forces us to look at what's underneath. Without it, we stay asleep, lost in the chase. The irony is that the moment we stop fighting our pain, when we sit with it, listen to it, it starts to transform. It becomes the teacher we didn't know we needed, guiding us toward a joy that isn't fleeting but real. We all fall into that cycle at some point, chasing something to make the discomfort disappear. A drink after a long day, a scroll through social media, another project to stay busy, another person to make us feel wanted. It works for a moment. The discomfort fades, replaced by a brief sense of control, of being okay again. But when the rush fades, we're left right where we started, only now a little emptier, a little more afraid of the silence that follows. Jung warned that this kind of living splits us in two, the self we show to the world and the one we hide from it. On the surface, we seem fine, productive, smiling, connected. But deep down, something is unraveling. The unconscious keeps whispering truths we refuse to hear. And every time we run, the distance between who we are and who we pretend to be grows wider. You can't run from yourself forever, Jung might say. One day, the mask cracks. And when it does, there's no more noise, no more distractions, just silence. You're alone with your thoughts for the first time, face to face with everything you've been avoiding. That moment is terrifying, but it's also where healing begins. The turning point comes when you finally stop running, when you realize that denying your darkness hasn't made you whole, it's only made you tired. Jung never said pleasure was wrong. He saw it as a natural part of being human, a reflection of life itself. The problem begins when pleasure becomes the master instead of the companion. When we chase it blindly, it leads us away from ourselves. But when we understand our shadow, the parts of us we've avoided or feared, pleasure transforms. It no longer controls us, we control it. Imagine the moment after a long night when the first light of dawn breaks through. The world is still, quiet, and honest. That's what it feels like to meet your shadow without judgment, to see both your light and your darkness, and to know they're both you. Jung called this wholeness, or individuation, the process of becoming who you truly are. It's not about perfection or constant happiness. It's about balance. When you accept every part of yourself, the chase ends. You don't need to run toward pleasure or away from pain anymore. You just stand still, awake, present, complete. And in that stillness, life finally starts to feel real. Here's the truth Jung wanted us to understand. Pleasure isn't bad, it's just incomplete. It's a piece of the puzzle, not the whole picture. Real joy doesn't come from escaping yourself. It comes from meeting yourself completely. But that's hard in a world that constantly tells us otherwise. Everywhere we turn, we're sold the idea that peace can be bought, earned, or consumed. A vacation, a new relationship, a promotion. Each one promises to fill the void. Yet after the excitement fades, that quiet restlessness returns, whispering that something is still missing. That's because pleasure and peace aren't the same thing. Pleasure excites, peace calms. Pleasure is about the moment, peace is about meaning. Jung called peace the reconciliation of opposites. When you stop fighting against your darkness and learn to hold both sides of yourself with understanding. The light and the shadow, the joy and the sorrow, the calm and the chaos, they all belong. And when you finally stop chasing what feels good and start embracing what is real, something shifts. Joy stops being something you pursue and becomes something that simply arises. Not loud, not dramatic, just quietly present, like the warmth of the sun after a long, cold night. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Jung's words echo like a whisper from the depths of the human soul. Because to accept yourself fully means to stop pretending, to look at every part of who you are, the good and the broken, the calm and the chaotic, and say, Yes, this is me. That kind of honesty is rare, and it's hard. It's much easier to chase little moments of pleasure that help us forget. But forgetting never frees us. It only delays the truth waiting to be faced. So the next time you reach for that small escape, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what am I really trying to feel? What am I trying to avoid? Because that question opens a door, not to more pleasure, but to peace. The moment you stop running and turn toward your shadow, you'll realize it was never your enemy. It was your teacher, patiently waiting for you to listen. And when you finally face it, you'll discover a kind of joy that no pleasure can ever replace. A joy born from wholeness, from truth, from knowing yourself completely. This is Thinkulus, where philosophy meets the soul. If you enjoyed this reflection, don't forget to like the video, leave a comment to share your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel for more stories that awaken the mind and speak to the soul. Your support helps us keep exploring the wisdom that truly transforms how we see life.